All right, everybody, welcome to the first segment of Ask Mike. Mike is my father. We've been playing fantasy football together for many years. He's really good at digging deep, finds these great stories. I'm really excited to get his insights on some of the fantasy running backs that are deeper in this draft. So, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Natimus.
Today, we're talking about fantasy rookie running back rankings, and we like to put things in context. We like to play with scenarios. You have a pick in our draft coming up, the 110. I have a 111. If you're looking at a running back and you're in the latter half, 9 through 12 in the first round in Dynasty, who are you looking at?
Okay, so yeah, that's an exciting place to be. I don't know if I would want to be in a situation where, and I'm not in a situation where, I would need to pick a running back there. But if you have to, and you decide that you're not going to go with the receiver, which I'm going to do, and you have to add some running back strength to your roster, there are 5 names that I think are names that we need to be looking at that back half. And that would be Dillon, Gibson, Vaughn, Evans, and Moss. And I'm going to go through each one of them and tell you what I think that their opportunity is going to be in 2020. And we'll start with A.J. Dillon. So A.J. Dillon's getting a lot of play out there. I mean, he's impressive. I mean, he's impressive. He's big, he's fast. But here's the situation with Dillon. He'll get his opportunities as a rookie, but he's really a downhill runner with a lot of speed. And when he's pressing to reach outside landmarks, he loses a lot of his functional balance and ability to cut, and it doesn't showcase his ability to collect himself off hard cuts. And if you watch any film on him, you'll see that there's something unusual. I know everybody wants to think Derrick Henry, I get it, but it just, when he has to make subtle kind of adjustments, lateral kind of adjustments, it's really difficult for him. It's almost like he loses his balance. But if someone hits him at that point, he's still going to go 5 yards because he's so big and he's running so fast. I get it. He's really an athletic specimen, but he just doesn't have that lateral kind of movement, which allows the pursuit to kind of close in on him on occasion. But he has a 40-inch vertical, so you put him on the 2-yard line, he's going to get you in. He's going to get in. He's going to push the pile, and I've seen him. It looks like it's a rugby scrum. The whole darn line will move with him when he hits that line, or he's going to go over. He had a 40-inch vertical at the combine. That's crazy. So that's the kind of back he is. You've got Jones and Williams there. They're both in a contract year, and I think probably the hope is that in Green Bay is that he will prove himself, and that's why he's going to get opportunities. And maybe Aaron Jones becomes expendable down the road. The problem is whether or not his brute force is that enough to seriously and consistently threaten defenses. And I'm just not sure. I think if they can force him to do things he doesn't like to do, which he clearly doesn't like to do, it might eliminate some of his effectiveness, some of that brute force speed effectiveness that he has. At number 4, I have Darington Evans. And Darington Evans is at Tennessee. And of course, we're talking about Henry there. The things that you want to know about him is he's from a smaller conference, the Sun Belt Conference. He was first team award winner as 2 years in the Sun Belt Conference. And in 2019, he was the offensive player of the year in that conference. But he's not necessarily a tackle breaker. Evans is quick and shifty, and he always falls forward, but he does it by figuring out how he has to make contact. He's got good vision, so he'll kind of slide off that defender. He'll get extra yards. He gets it that way, not by breaking tackles. But do we need a tackle breaker? We got Henry. So, do we need another tackle breaker in that offense? I don't think so. The question is, will they give him 10 to 12 touches with Henry in the backfield? I think if they do that, then Evans has a real good chance to be relevant in 2020 and be part of a really good tandem there.
All right, so PPR back, 10 to 12 touches. You think he'll be fantasy relevant in your run? That's your number 4 back. Who do you got at number 3?
Okay, so I'm looking at Antonio Gibson. Now the backfield there is kind of like, I don't know, right? I mean, Geis has been fragile. when he's been on the field, which is really, really rarely, he's looked really electric. And Peterson, he's 35 years old. I mean, God bless him. He's a marvel, and he got 1,000 yards last year. He may be able to do that again this year. I would never say, but he's limited now at that age. He's not Peterson, of 5-6 years ago. It's not that guy. But Gibson is 6'1", 223. He's explosive in the open field, but he mostly played wide receiver in college. But as running back, he did show the ability to get the top speed immediately. So he has a good start speed. He maintains a burst through the line, and he's really good at when he gets to the secondary, basically taking good angles on the defenders. And if he gets by him, if he slips by him, he's not caught from behind. And he has a wide base, a strong lower body. So he's got stuff that allows him to play, between the tackles. And he turns it up velocity, a ton of velocity, into aggressive contact when he's asked to play in that role. So he doesn't shy away from it. It's just that's not been his experience. I mean, what his experience is that he has a wide receiver and he can catch the ball over the shoulder, running full speed, 30 yards down the field. Kind of amazing trait for somebody who's going to play running back. So he's had that limited exposure in college to running back, but he seems to have all the traits that would allow him to step in. If something happened to Peterson or something happened to Geis, he could see major playing time. He will get playing time anyway.
So Gibson at number 3, I know a lot of people actually like him for the skill sets. Who do you got at number 2?
Number 2 is Keyshawn Vaughn. And with Vaughn, there's this Jones thing going on, and I think everybody's kind of like, he kind of disappointed me. I had him last year. If you had him his freshman year, it was a disaster. Or his rookie year, it was a disaster. But the coaching staff seems to really still like him, and they want to give him a shot, and they believe in him. They think the second year showed them some things. Well, actually, they said showed them more than they expected. So there, it's most likely going to be a rotational role for both backs. But Vaughn, he's fast and he gets north and south. Dance around the defense or anything like that. Matter of fact, he prefers to either overpower or outrun the secondary as far as defenders go, and he can do both of those things. He's capable of doing either. He can go through you, or he can go around you. He has the agility to do either. But he's going to do it in a north-south fashion. He's not going to dance around. He has for those reasons, he had great yards after the catch numbers in college. He appears to be the kind of running back that Brady would be comfortable with. It's going to play into Brady's strength. And basically, I think the only thing that would stop him from having playing time is if he can't keep Brady upright, if his blocking is not good enough to keep Brady upright. And we all know that if Brady gets knocked down, there's going to be some hell to pay. So that's the only
one missed block, and that'll cost him two weeks of fantasy.
I know,
moments.
Right? It's true. It's true.
And then the other thing is Arians doesn't like rookies.
Yeah.
So
but he has a ton of talent. He's like I said, he's my number 2 guy. And if Jones doesn't have a good third year, they may be forced to turn to Vaughn. So, it has a big opportunity.
Right. You have one guy on the top of your list that you think is going to get opportunities from day one. And so who's your number 1 guy?
Zach Moss is the number 1 guy. He measures in at, I think 5'11" or 5'10". He's 222. He's going to immediately take over Gore's role. He will compete for a committee role with Singletary. And I had Singletary in a league last year, in a redraft league, and I can tell you, it was disappointing. He never won me a week. So, he has a real opportunity to take what Gore had and expand it. And I think that he will, because he's one of the best tackle breakers in the class. That's pretty much what everybody believes about him. In short yardage situations. He's going to get you what you need, and he's more of a grinder. But think Bettis. He has really, really quick feet, great balance. He's going to make the first defender miss, and he's going to if confronted, he's going to punish the person in front of him. Singletary has yet to display any of that on a consistent basis.
Singletary has good hands, and he's a smaller back. He's a shiftier back. I think Singletary was always going to be in a committee situation.
I think you're right. I think that's right.
Yeah. So you're saying Zach Moss steps in, he fills the Gore role, he's getting 12 to 15 touches a game from day one. Singletary might actually take a hit and be the guy that gets 10 to 12 touches a game, even though Gore didn't necessarily do that. But
I think we're
saying that Moss is a
think
fresh.
You're on it. I think you're on it because he does have breakaway speed, or he lacks breakaway speed, but he's really quick and shifty enough to make that first defender miss almost always. So I could see this flipping to Moss 60, Singletary 40 as the course of the season rolls. And he's going to start at about, well, if you take Gore's roll, it was 30-70, somewhere in there. I think that immediately you're going to see close to a 50-50 with the possibility that Moss could end up with 60% of the carries out of the backfield. He's an immediate person you could put in and have fantasy points if you need to take a running back this late in the first round. I would say that you could probably wait on most of these guys. Not all of them are going to go, obviously, in the first round. If you have a really good wide receiver that you really like, and you could probably pick up one of these guys in the second round. So you don't have to feel like you have to get them here. Right. But if you're weak enough and you don't want to risk it, this is what I think those players can do.
And that's what's good about being at the back half of the first. Like, you could take a wide receiver and then come back, and maybe Gibson's still sitting there at 204, and or Moss or even Vaughn are still sitting there at 204, and you're like, great, I got a great wide receiver and a great running back. This draft is really sweet, I think, in the early second, late first. There is a lot of value in that area. So good luck to you guys on your drafts. I hope this was helpful, and please come back for another Ask Mike episode. Ask us questions. You can go to fantasyfootballgeek.net and go to our contact page and shoot us an email. We would love to get your questions, and we would love to analyze those questions. Again, we're doing all the research. We're reading everything. We've subscribed to everything. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next time.